I shouldn't have opened that door. I shouldn't have turned the knob. But when I saw her silhouette pressed against the window, a silhouette I'd known my whole life, everything in me shattered. It began innocently enough. My wife, Emma, was out running errands, and her younger sister, Lila, had come to stay with us for a week. I was in my study, grading reports from the school where I taught English, when I heard a soft, uneven sob drifting down the corridor. Instinct propelled me toward Lila's closed bedroom door. I knocked once, then paused. No answer. The sobbing continued, muffled by the wood. "Lila," I murmured. "Are you okay?" Silence, then a scuff of movement. My hand closed around the cool brass knob, and before guilt or reason intervened, I turned it. The sight that greeted me was ruin. Lila sat on the edge of the bed, head bowed, hands twisting the sheet in her lap. Above her belly, a faint swell pressed through the thin fabric of her shirt. My breath caught. "I'm pregnant," she said, voice raw and brittle. "It's yours." One, the spark of betrayal. My mind recoiled, but my body remained frozen in the doorway. How could she, my sister-in-law, bear my child? Emma and I had been married 5 years, blissfully in love, or so I believed. And Lila, bright and vivacious, had always treated me like an uncle, a confidant. We'd shared jokes, beers, the occasional late-night chat. But this crossed every boundary. "Lila," my voice cracked. I stepped in, closing the door behind me. The room smelled of baby lotion and something floral, her perfume. She looked up, eyes glistening. "I'm sorry," she whispered, head dropping again. "I didn't mean for this to happen." My chest tightened. "When?" I managed, voice low. Her fingers stilled on the sheet. "3 weeks ago," she said. "After the party, you remember." I did remember. Emma's birthday, a house full of friends, a little too much wine, laughter echoing through the halls. But I didn't remember a moment alone with Lila. My heart thundered. "We didn't have sex," I protested, voice unsteady. She swallowed hard. "We did, and you loved it." 2. The first sinful moment. Flashback, 6 weeks earlier. Late night, Emma had fallen asleep on the couch watching an old movie. Lila and I lingered in the kitchen, cleaning up. The lights were dim. The dishes clinked in the sink. I caught her staring at me, cheeks flushed. She laughed nervously. "Thanks for letting me crash here. I know I'm a handful." I shrugged. "Family's family." She pressed closer, voice dropping. "Sometimes I wish you weren't just family." My pulse spiked. I looked away, but I couldn't stop staring at her collarbone, the way her hair fell across her shoulders. The next moment, she brushed her lips against mine. It was a whisper of contact, a warning I should have heeded. Instead, I kissed her back. Our mouths moved in a question and answer, hesitant at first, then urgent. I remembered the hush of the kitchen, the steel of the sink under my hand, the tremble in her body. My rational mind screamed to stop, to pull away, but my desire overruled every moral dam. We pressed against the countertop, her thigh pressed against mine. And then, in a blur of shame and need, I lost control. Afterward, we staggered apart. Her eyes, half-lidded with longing, met mine. "We can't do this," I gasped. But the taste of her lips lingered, igniting a hunger I didn't know I held, forbidden fruit, sweeter than any I'd tasted before. 3. The guilt that followed. In the days that followed, I buried myself in work. I avoided Lila's gaze, my stomach knotted with shame. At home, Emma noticed. "Are you okay?" she'd ask at dinner, spoon paused midair. I'd force a smile, nod, and watch her deflate, suspicion curling in her chest. Lila, too, became quieter, her laughter faltering. I caught her watching me from across the room, eyes mournful. One afternoon, I found her crying in the garden, damp petals sticking to her cheeks. I knelt beside her, guilt tearing at my insides. "Lila, I'm sorry," I began. She shook her head. "You think I'm a clown, don't you? A kid who's always tagging along." Her voice cracked. "You never saw me as a woman." I swallowed, pain ripping through me. "That's not true." But the words fell hollow. I offered her something, comfort, forgiveness. She silenced me with a finger to my lips. Don't say anything. Just stay. The wind rustled the flowers, and we sat in silence, two sinners bound by a secret too heavy to bear. 4. Rising tension and near discovery. Emma's trip to her parents was supposed to be a weekend getaway. She kissed me goodbye at dawn, whistled with contentment as she slid out of the driveway. Lila and I stood on the porch, watching her car disappear. "I'll be here if you need me," Lila murmured. We stared at each other, breaths mingling in the morning air. That night, I lay awake on my side of the bed, every creak of the house amplified. In the guest room down the hall, Lila slept, or pretended to. Around midnight, a soft murmur drifted through the walls. My heart raced. I slipped from the bed and padded barefoot into the hallway, hand trailing the wallpaper, ears straining. In her room, the light glimmered under the door. I pressed my ear to the wood. Two voices, her sighs, and a man's deep groan. My breath fell away. I pressed my ear harder, visions swimming in the dark. It wasn't my imagination. Lila was with someone else. A man's name I didn't know. Betrayal stung my chest. She'd lied about her feelings for me. But beneath the anger, a flicker of relief. I wasn't the only sinner. A knot of jealousy and relief coiled in me, and I turned away, guilt warring with triumph. 5. The second encounter. Mercy in darkness. Later that week, Emma's car pulled into the driveway unexpectedly. Panic clawed at my ribs. I scrambled from my desk, adrenaline thrumming. In the living room, I turned on the TV low, hoping to appear engrossed in the news. Emma stepped inside, arms loaded with groceries. "I'm early," she said, brows lifting. Traffic was light. She kissed my cheek, humming. I breathed out, but relief was short-lived. Upstairs, Lila's door stood open. A suitcase lay half-packed on the bed. She was leaving tonight. I climbed the stairs, voice thick. "What are you doing?" She sat on the bed, arms wrapped around her knees, tears glittering. "I'm going home," she said. "I can't stay here anymore." I sat beside her, the mattress dipping. Why did you say that thing?" I asked softly. She met my gaze. "I thought it would make you see me." Her voice trembled. "But I was wrong. You don't love me." I reached out. She didn't pull away. Our fingers brushed, and the old ache stirred. "I do love you," I whispered, though every moral fiber in me screamed betrayal. "I shouldn't, but I do." Her lips quivered into a ghost of a smile. She pressed into my hand. "Then stay." And beneath that lamplight, I kissed her, not in the kitchen this time, but on her rumpled bed, slowly, insistently. Communion of two broken hearts seeking solace. The darkness held us, and for one intoxicating moment, nothing else existed. 6. The secret child. I woke to sunlight filtering through pink curtains and a dull ache in my body. Lila was gone, leaving only a note folded on the nightstand. "I'm going away to think. If you ever want to see me again, you know where to find me." My stomach twisted when I found a second folded paper under my pillow, printed lab results, positive, HCG. My name handwritten at the top. My breath caught. She was pregnant. Mine. Panic surged. I sat on the side of the bed, head in my hands. What had I done? The child, what claim did I have on it? The child, what claim did it have on me? 7. Betrayal multiplied. I searched every empty online profile for Lila, every message thread. Nothing. In the days that followed, I could barely function. At school, I stumbled over lesson plans. At home, I avoided Emma, each room echoing with memories of that forbidden night. Guilt dripped from my pores. I felt unclean. Then one morning, her email landed in my inbox. Subject line, "We need to talk." I drank coffee without tasting it and clicked. "Meet me at the park bench beneath the old oak at 6 p.m. Don't bring Emma." My pulse thundered in my throat. At 6, I took my car and sat on the cold metal bench, the autumn wind cutting through my jacket. Lila appeared, hands clutching a leather folder. She sat without greeting. "I'm having your baby," she said, blunt and cold. No tears, and I want to raise her as mine." Her voice was calm, resolute. I blinked. "Mine? You mean?" She slid the folder across to me. Inside were pages of financial projections, college funds, medical insurance, inheritance scenarios. "I've made a plan," she said, "and I want you to be part of it. You'll provide. I'll raise her." Beneath it all lay a contract she drafted: custody, visitation, child support. My hand shook as I skimmed. This was no accident. It was a scheme. The betrayal cut deeper than our affair. She'd weaponized our sin. 8. The confrontation. That evening, Emma found me curled on the couch, Lila's contract in my lap. "What's this?" she asked, voice soft. I looked up. My heart fractured. It's Lila's," I stammered. She reached for it, reading the first page. Her face drained of color. "You slept with her." She turned to me, eyes blazing. "My sister." I nodded, tears stinging. She stood, hurricane wrath. "How could you?" she screamed, voice cracking. "You promised me forever." I rose, stepping toward her. "Emma, listen." She cut me off, shaking her head. "Don't you dare explain. You made this choice." The contract slipped from my fingers to the carpet. "She's pregnant," I said, voice raw. Silence broke between us like shattering glass. She sank to the floor, knees drawn up. "Oh my God," she whispered. I sank beside her, guilt choking me. "I never meant." She curled into herself. "I can't believe you." "How long?" I closed my eyes. "Since the party. Twice more after that." Her back tense against the couch. "Don't," she moaned. "Don't say another word." Tears streamed down her face, each drop a verdict. I reached out, but she turned away. 9. The moral abyss. In the days that followed, our house became a tomb. Emma slept in the spare room. I tossed and turned in hours, haunted by her sobs echoing through the walls. Lila's contract sat on the dining table, unopened by either of us. I realized I was living two parallel lives. One as Emma's husband, protector, friend. The other as Lila's father-to-be, provider, consort. My guilt morphed into something deeper. I began to admire Lila's resolve. She had taken control of a mistake I couldn't face. But her plan, taking away my child from its mother, it repulsed me. Yet, the more I thought of Emma's betrayal, she wasn't the one pregnant. Lila was. The child was innocent. What could I do? One afternoon, I found a letter from Emma on the kitchen counter. "I can't do this alone. If you want to save our marriage, be here." Not with her. Here with me. I stared at the words. My hand hovered. I wanted to go to Lila, apologize, negotiate custody, be a father. But I also wanted to fix what I destroyed with Emma. I was caught between blood and vows, desire and duty, my heartbeat echoing the question, what is right? 10. A twist of regret. At the ultrasound clinic, Lila and I sat in the waiting room. She held my hand in hers, fragile as porcelain. I could see the baby's tiny heartbeat on the screen, steady, insistent. I knelt, brushing a kiss across her hair. I apologized again, voice hushed. "I'm sorry for everything, but I can't take her from her mother." Lila nodded, tears in her eyes. "I never wanted that. I only wanted you to see me." She squeezed my hand. We walked out into the midday sun. She turned to me. "I'm going to move to the coast," she said. "Start fresh. I'll be back when she's born. You can visit if you want." My heart squeezed. I breathed. She smiled, bittersweet. "Me too." And in that moment, I realized that love doesn't obey morality or desire. It simply is. A truth too jagged to hold. 11. Epilogue. The moral question. I stand now at the threshold of two worlds. A husband pleading for forgiveness, and a father facing fatherhood with a woman he should never have touched. Emma and I share a fragile peace. We go through the motions of family dinners, bedtimes, the facade of normalcy. Lila has retreated to the coast, her silhouette a memory etched in my mind. The child will arrive in 6 months. I will be there at the birth, at the first cry, bearing the weight of my sins and the hope of redemption. I don't know what forgiveness looks like, or if it's even deserved. I don't know if my marriage can survive this fracture, or if my heart can hold these two loves without shattering. I shouldn't have gone into my wife's sister's room, but I did. Now I live in the aftermath, a man torn between love and loyalty, haunted by my own desire, and left asking the hardest question of all: which choice makes me a father, and which makes me a monster?